What is the prognosis at the moment for Storm Franklin? Many of our listeners and viewers will just be getting around their heads around Storm Eunice, which they thought was over, and we've been hit by Storm Franklin. How serious do we think this third in this triple whammy of storms is going to be?
This is a bit like waiting for the proverbial bus that never arrives, and then you wait. In our case, you wait a couple of 3 months and you get three in a row. Just the way it went, I guess. Franklin is now thankfully starting to ebb. It's moving away north Scotland and out into the North Sea. So the winds that it attracted this morning and yesterday, in fact, because that was associated with the squally stuff that we saw at the football match in various places yesterday, they were associated with Franklin as well. So it's been nearly 24 hours of this one, but now it is coming to an end. I will say one thing: it really is, Liam, very good to come on a programme that's business linked, because the weather is so integral to performance and losses and profits right across the board. So much, not just the storm side of things, but every single day. And it's refreshing to for the subject to be actually brought up on a business programme.
We thank you, Jim. That's what we try and do here on The Money. I mean, we are really focused on how households are suffering at the hands of rising energy costs. But as we always point out, businesses, they have no cap at all on their energy costs. Ofgem doesn't cover them. Let's talk to you now, Louise Bamford. Thank you so much for coming up on the show. You're based up in Lancashire. Accent Language Solutions is very much an internet-focused company. A lot of your business is online. You have suffered outages. What's been the impact on your business?
We've been impacted by all the storms right back to Arwen. We've had outages of power. We've had outages of internet and phone line. Obviously, with the work that we do being online mainly, that's had huge impacts on us, and we've had to relocate at times to local hot desking facilities. Obviously, that has a financial impact for us. But we're lucky in that, this latest storm hasn't affected our internet access. So we are still currently able to trade from our usual offices.
Fingers crossed that carries on, Louise. We were recently up in Lancashire for GBNews North West Week, and while you're not a steel maker, you're not a manufacturer, you're not a really energy-intensive firm, you still need that power, don't you? You still need that internet access. A lot of phone masts and other internet infrastructure being knocked out by the wind. This must have cost you quite a lot of money in terms of lessons lost, customers left dissatisfied, because, they're going to blame it on you, aren't they, with the best will in the world, if their services that they provided for online aren't there.
Absolutely. As I say, a lot of the work we do is online, particularly post-pandemic. Obviously, we're all working, we can't do our face-to-face interpreting, so we do that online now over Zoom. So if our internet's affected, we can't provide that service or can't do it effectively. We have to either delay, which obviously has an impact on our clients and possibly their clients. And it has a huge impact for us, but also a knock-on effect for our clients as well.
Helen Thomas, let's come to you. In the past, we've discussed the impact of heavy weather around the world on the insurance markets, on financial markets more generally. We have seen more storms in recent years, haven't we, for whatever reason. Do you think we're understating the impact of these successive storms, the practical implications, the business implications on the UK economy?
Well, I think you're right to highlight it, because it has a big macroeconomic impact, because there's so many steps to this. There are customers who can't physically get to shops, maybe, or even, as we're now hearing, access things online. So you've got the demand side of it, and then the supply side. So can the workers get into the factory? Or even to, what we're hearing there.
Or into their cosy central London television studio.
Well,
Almost didn't happen.
Exactly. Now, with your pure economics hat on, there tends to be a sense that natural disasters, which you could perhaps qualify this as, you do lose economic activity initially, but then you can sometimes make it up later because there's a rebuild, et cetera, et cetera. But, of course, that's just a classic thing economists will say, all else being equal. All else isn't equal because we've had, as you have been highlighting for some time now, a squeeze that has already been hurting people. So on top of that, it certainly exacerbates the issue. Let's
go back to Jim Dale of the British Weather Service. Jim, I've had a few phone calls and emails from people I know across the renewable energy sector today saying this is great, the wind turbines are blowing like billy-o, 50% of the electricity that we're currently generating here in the UK is renewable today, given that there are such high winds. I know it's not your specialism, but given that we are having a lot of this heavy weather, it does really bring into focus, doesn't it, the cost of energy for households and firms, particularly if those households and firms are actually cut off, as tens of thousands are now as we speak.
The most important thing as far as energy use, energy production, from the year dot to now, is the weather, to be honest with you. It drives us. It's not just the supply of it and what it is. Primarily, it's the demand. And, we need our heat, we need our light, we need all of the things that we take almost for granted. And I think, situations such as the storms we've seen really highlight that kind of thing. I mean, we went through January and it really was a nothing month. I nearly didn't have a job, if that makes sense. And, it was so tranquil. So and those wind turbines were not doing nothing at all. So we were turning to gas more and more. And I think, the gas prices were going up at the same time. Now we've got not quite an overload, but this is what it's all about. This is what wind energy produces. In other words, it does the act when you get the wind. So whether it's wind power, sea power, wave power, that type of thing, the green energy side of things comes into play simply because the weather and Mother Nature, if you like, are the governors when it comes to the not just energy, many other areas as well, retail and insurance, and the list is endless. To be honest with you, that endless that I wrote the book, Whether or Not, which is all about the impacts of the weather on business and personal life. So it really is, this highlights everything, and it's brought it to the fore. And I'm so glad it's done that, because we really need a debate on this particular subject in terms of how we best deal with not just these kind of events, but everyday weather from now on in.
Let me just bring Louise Bamford in. We often talk here on The Money about tips for households to deal with energy bills, keeping your heating off at certain times of day, closing doors, only using certain rooms, talking to your energy provider, seeing if you're eligible for benefits, all these things. Businesses, I think we've ignored the impact on businesses. There's no price cap for you at all. What have you done to try and save energy, to try and keep your business running in these difficult times?
Obviously, we're all at the mercy of rising energy costs, nature itself, as with the storms, and we've just got to keep trying. Obviously, wear another jumper, try not to have the heating on quite as much, same as you would do at home. But running a business, we need to use energy perhaps more. We obviously need our electricity on 100% of the time, and that is something that we do have to factor into our business running costs.